And out of the mouths of babies and infants you have established strength because of your foes, to still the enemy and the avenger. And you know what this simply means? It means that that God uses the weak to defeat the mighty. That's what it means. And of course, this was a concept David was all too familiar with. Because as a young teenager, he went up against a man who was a much older and much more seasoned warrior, a man we know by the name of Goliath, and yet David had victory over that man who should have beaten him to a pulp, and probably would have in any other circumstances except that the Lord was involved. And David knew that the victory God was expressing in his defeat of Goliath was a way of saying, see my majesty. Behold my majesty. I can cause this little scrawny teenager to put a stone in his sling and cast it at this man with such incredible accuracy that it knocks him silly and he falls to the ground long enough for David to run over and then put him to death. And in so doing, bring a great victory for the nation of Israel over the Philistines that day. And you know what God is saying through that? Check it out. Check out this majesty. And that's what David is saying. Out of the mouths of babies and infants, you have established strength. This essentially happened when Jesus came into the city of Jerusalem in what we call the triumphal entry. And the enemies of the Lord wanted Jesus to tell these parents to silence their children who were singing praises and saying, Hosanna, these little children. And Jesus basically quotes the same idea, that it is through the mouths of babies and infants that God has established strength to basically shut down the enemies of the Lord. So this is an incredible thing, but it's part of the way God works. Let me show you this statement from 1 Corinthians chapter 1. It says, God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. He chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him and so that he might show his majesty. All right?